Hey everybody, Karen from Master Spirit Guides. I hope you're doing well today. So this is part 3 of asking the lead team collective questions regarding messages that the Z's have given us through Lee Harris, which some of you may or may not know who he is. If you've never been connected with Lee Harris and his videos, highly recommend. I will post the videos below that might be very helpful for you to listen to after this one, of course. If you just go off and leave right now, might hurt my video. So anyways, meaning it, if you click off of it, YouTube's like, oh, they weren't interested. So okay, anyways, so this is part 3, and we are talking about how to live through the transition that we talked about in part 1 and 2. You can listen to this one before you go back to 1 and 2, or you could go back to 1 and 2. I will list them below actually in the description as well, episodes 1 and 2, but I'll pop them here at the end of the video as well. All right, so that you can click on them if you want to, but you can go ahead and listen to this one and then go back to 1 and 2. All right, so in the first conversation, part 1, we looked at what the Z's said they believed was changing on Earth. Okay, now the Z's, if you're not sure, are a group of angelic beings. They could be even some ET energy, I'm not quite sure, who are channeling through Lee Harris. And the lead team said some of those from the Z's are also a part of our lead team collective. So I found that interesting. In the second part that we asked questions on, we looked at what they believe people may need to build. Okay, so what life, where, basically what the transition period is going to be like. All right. So now, and then what we need to build to go forward. Now we're looking at, well, how do we kind of get through this transition? So this might be the fun part. Okay, so today we are looking at how the Z's, believe people can move through this time without becoming overwhelmed by fear. The Z's say one of the biggest mistakes people make is waiting for one giant event. They say many people are waiting for a collapse, a rescue, or a moment that suddenly changes everything. But they do not believe this is how it's going to work. They say the future is shaped slowly, one choice at a time, which really makes sense because even this conversation is shifting timelines, right? So anytime you learn something new and you take it in or you don't take it in, you're shifting your own timeline, okay? So I can imagine that is why they would say that, because we have free will. We can move with this whole change the way we want to. We can decide to be in fear the whole time, or we can decide not to, or we could decide to do a little of both, right? So they are saying it is shaped slowly, one choice at a time. They also say fear, especially fear of death and loss, can make people give away their power. And they say one of the most important things people can do is calmly speak their truth, even if other people reject it at first. According to the Z's, people often need to hear the same idea many times before they are ready to see it. Absolutely. And not only that, you can hear it from different different angles. And then all of a sudden it clicks. You're like, oh my gosh, I finally get it, right? So today we are going to explore why the Z's believe waiting for a dramatic event may hold people back. So that's interesting. Why fear may be shaping more decisions than people realize, and why speaking truth may matter more than being believed immediately. Then we're going to ask the Lead Team Collective whether these ideas, what they think about those ideas. Are people waiting for something that is not coming? Does fear keep people tied to the old systems? And can speaking honestly help create a different future, even if it takes time? Okay, So let's say a little prayer, and then I'm going to go over a couple different areas that the Z's talked about. Why waiting for the sudden collapse or rescue may be a mistake. So that's one of them. And then why fear, especially fear of death, affects people's choices. So again, these are all the things that the Z's talked about and they wanted us to know right now. Why speaking your truth matters even if people reject it. And that will be it. And then we'll ask the questions from the lead team. Okay. So I close my aura to all but my higher self, the God consciousness, my guides, guardians, the lead team collective, and only those of the highest and purest light, and ask Archangel Michael to please protect my channel, your channel, our community, the lead team collective, so it is all of the highest and purest light. Amen. Hey, lead team. Thank you so much for being here and partnering with us to have fabulous lives and to do whatever quote unquote work that we are meant to do here on Earth to help humanity raise our vibrations and get out of some of the schlumpy schlumps that we've been in. So we're here for it. So thank you so much for partnering with us on that. So I already did the love challenge. I did the reset today for the spirit circle, which I will mention in the last 2 weeks. I'm very poofy right there. In the last 2 weeks, the reset message for the spirit circle, we do oracle message. The lead team gives us a message through the oracle, through an oracle deck. And then we do a clearing and then we give a hug. The lead team does. The last 2 weeks had to do with grieving. So last Monday and then today's message. Usually I do it on Monday, but so both weeks they recognizing that we are collectively going through a grieving process because we're finding out stuff that we thought things were different than what we are finding out, right? And they want us honoring that and moving through it, though, not staying in that, right? But they are honoring the fact that we are going through a collective grieving process. And I think that's fair. I think it's fair to say. Let me know what you think. Okay, so, and if you are, where are you in the process? Where are you in the grieving process? I talked a little bit about this in the spirit circle. I think for me, I'm coming into acceptance because I am more and more able to hear new information without even having any kind of fear about it or denial or anxiety about it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's another piece of the puzzle. That's interesting. So not absorbing where I had been absorbing. So if you're finding yourself still absorbing when you learn new things, if you are out looking for new things, new ideas, new perspectives, whatever, anything that's been causing us division is the stuff that I'm trying to look at a little bit more closely. If you're finding that you're getting so much information that you start to get some anxiety, that's when your nervous system's saying, just slow down, slow down. I had to do that over the last 9 months or so. And then you can pick it up again, but slow it down and then pick it up. And then eventually, everybody's going to be a little different, but eventually you probably will come into that acceptance stage, right? Where you can listen to things without absorbing them. And I'm just understanding that myself because it is just a new reality for me to listen without absorbing or observe without absorbing. That has not been possible for me over the last 9 months or my whole life, probably my whole life. But I think I'm coming out of that, at least for now. So doesn't mean I probably won't still have a little anxiety here or there, cut, clear, cancel. So we'll see. And did I already tell you I did the love challenge already with the spirit circle. Okay. So let's see. So the Z's strongly warn against waiting for one giant event. All right. They say many people are still expecting, like I said in the intro, a collapse, a rescue, or a moment when everything suddenly changes. They believe this keeps people from noticing the slow changes already happening. That's my pressure cooker. A little beef broth in there. It'll go off in a second. It's done. It's exciting to take them out because then they keep boiling. It's kind of cool. Okay, so they also believe it can keep people from taking practical steps now. So that's interesting. And the lead team, are you agreeing with that? Yes. Okay, so the Z's are saying that waiting for this one event or whatever, waiting for a rescue, waiting for, Trump to finish doing what he's doing, and then thinking that's going to be the best thing ever. I don't know. Whatever the rescue looks like, I don't know what that even means. That this is keeping people from noticing slow changes that are happening. So, are there slow changes happening already? Yes. Okay. Is this idea of this sudden collapse or changes or sudden moment that could occur, if people believe that, is that preventing them from taking practical steps? Yes. With the rescue idea, is that maybe how I've lived my whole life, not wanting to pay attention to politics, just enough on the fringe to know who I wanted to vote for, but not really paying attention to it, thinking that, well, the system will take care of it. That type of thing. Is that considered the rescue that they're talking about? Yes. Okay, so we're talking about people who are thinking it's a rescue, are people who are just living their lives, their busy lives, and they're choosing still to not pay attention because they figured things will just work out. Yes. Okay. Interesting. I mean, even my husband said it the other day. It's kind of interesting because he said, well, our whole lives, things have happened and it always works out. Like things always adjust. Or no, like the United States. Now we're talking about the United States. Like they always fix things, like they'll fix it or whatever. And I'm like, well, yeah, for us they have. Okay. Or at least we haven't, at least to the degree that we have been, at least to our understanding. Could things have been way better? Maybe, probably. But I did say to him, well, they didn't fix the pandemic, did they? No, they did not. They let that whole thing unravel. So that, that was a new experience. So it's interesting that he still has that, like, well, they'll fix it, So anyways, I just find it interesting that is kind of what they're talking about. Okay, so the Z's say this misunderstanding is happening right now. They believe many people may continue waiting for several more years. Okay. So, we talked in a previous video because they are saying that the deconstruction of old systems that needs to happen for new systems to be built is not going to happen just like, you have time basically to take practical steps now, to start watching the shifts and start changing them, start making differences, to start making a difference. So how to prepare, the Z's say, stop waiting for someone else to save you. Focus on what you can do now. Pay attention to, why are you guys saying yes and no, by the way? No, you're not? Okay. They just keep swinging both sides. I'm like, okay, so should we stop waiting for someone else to save us? Yes. Again, you got to figure out, like, what does that mean exactly? Focus on what you can do now. You want us to be doing that. Yep. Pay attention to slow changes instead of only dramatic predictions. Yes. Okay. I kind of like, that's why when we do our, this is another little pitch for the Spirit Circle, don't mean it to be, but at the beginning of the month, they give us messages through the pendulum, and that they're not like big predictions for the year, although we did do a full year one. But I like the monthly because they kind of, they're saying yes. Yeah. It helps us pay attention to the slow changes. So build your life one step at a time. Okay. So a few more questions for the lead team. Is waiting for one dramatic event keeping many people from preparing for the slower changes already happening? Yes. And what do we mean by slower changes? We are going to slowly start to see changes. I guess the one you can probably hang your hat on is the grocery store. So kind of how supplies moves around the world, is that something we're going to see shifts in? Yes. Okay. And that will be, I think I want to do a separate video, you guys, on just the Strait of Hormuz, and just see Hormuz. See what the lead team has to say. I might do that tomorrow. I might do that one tomorrow because I'm kind of curious about that. Because some people are predicting like there will be just all like within a certain time period, like this is what we'll experience. But again, it does depend on where you live. So, okay. Could focusing on collapse or rescue make people less likely to notice what they need to do now? So that's very practical of the Z's to talk about that. So they want you to notice things that you should be considering now, okay? Is it possible that the future is changing through many small choices rather than one single event? Yes, I can see that. My future, I mean, we're already just in my little canning process that I've been talking about, is really changing the way I see things. So that's changing timelines. That's helping us take a little bit more care of ourselves rather than waiting for someone to fill the grocery store, shelves. So just an example. Would people feel more empowered if they stopped waiting and began building? I think that's the key word. Yes. So you want us building communities. So it's just, what are you doing every day right now? What can you do? And we've been talking about learning one new skill, maybe getting connected with one new person, maybe going and looking around your local, like go locally, get off your phone and stop watching YouTube after you watch this video, of course, and see what's going on locally around you, start building community within your local area. Are some people staying stuck because they believe someone else will eventually fix everything? Yes. Again, my husband, I was like, are you kidding me? Like right now, we are in such, because I watch so many different things. We are in and have these kind of conversations, and he doesn't. So I'm like slowly trying to help him catch up to speed. But, he's going through a grieving process of his own, So trying to adapt to all the new ideas. Is it likely that the biggest changes will happen gradually instead of all at once? Yes. Will there be a time, though, where it does feel sudden to people? Yes. Okay. So, like I've told you guys the story of the pandemic, that everybody must have been seeing it coming except for me. Because then like one day I went out and started looking for hand sanitizer and stuff, and it was all gone. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? How does everybody know this but me, right? So that is going to happen to people. Okay. So let's see. The Z's say fear may be one of the strongest forces keeping people tied to the old systems. So maybe we need to have a conversation about what are our old systems and what are new systems. Maybe we'll ask the lead team that. I mean, an old system is war, right? Division. Because people have identity around division. Like you might identify yourself as a MAGA or a liberal or a progressive or a Republican, whatever. So people have that identity. So it's like letting go of that identity, right? And that's one little tiny example. So I can see that. I can see that. So the Z's say fear may be one of the strongest forces keeping people tied to the old system. We're going to examine that more, the old systems versus new systems. And the new systems would be something you might read in the book The Golden Future by Diana Cooper, which we did in the Spirit Circle. So new systems. We're going to focus on old systems and new systems coming up. I can feel that that would be a good conversation to have, especially with these guys. Okay. So the Z's speak especially about fear of death, loss, uncertainty, and change. Yeah. Us humans, we don't like that uncertainty and change stuff. But you know, it's funny because we keep fighting against it, but it's just nothing ever stays the same ever. So I'm like just learning and go with the flow. You got to be a noodle. You gotta noodle around. You just gotta noodle around things. Come on, everybody, right now, you just gotta learn to be a noodle. You just don't even ask me where that came from. I have no idea. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, okay. We're going to be noodles for now on. Now I got to come up with a mug for something like that. Noodles. Come on, you noodle. All right. The Z's believe fear can cause people to give away their power and make choices they would not normally make. So I'm going to examine this area a little bit more in other episodes. So the Z's describe this as something happening now and likely becoming stronger whenever the world feels more uncertain. So the more we can clear up our fear and get through the grieving process of every week, the more we can noodle around, the better, because we will help keep the higher energy for people who are just going through it. Okay, so the Z's are saying how to prepare. Notice when you are most afraid, so maybe start keeping track of that. Ask your spirit guides and your team to help you notice it. Maybe start writing it down. Ask yourself whether fear is making your decisions. Yeah, I should do that. It was there for a while, helping me make decisions. Yes. They're like, yes. That was a really wide swing, by the way. Kind of rude. Practice calming yourself before reacting. Remember that uncertainty does not always mean danger. Yeah. Maybe uncertainty never means danger. Do we need to be, lead team, do we need to be in fight or flight anymore? Is that something that is still helpful for us? No. Okay. Unless obviously you're in immediate danger, Okay, so lead team, is fear, especially fear of death and uncertainty, causing many people to make choices that keep them tied to the old system? Yes. Okay. Like I said, we're going to explore that more. Could fear make people more willing to give up freedom in exchange for feeling safe? Yes. Is that what happened during the pandemic? Yes. Was that being tested by the powers at be? Were they really testing that to see if we would give up our freedom in exchange for feeling safe? Yes. I mean, I just thought I was doing what was best for humanity. Kind of rude. But now that I know that, maybe make different choices, I don't know. We'll see. Is it possible that some people believe they are acting from intuition when they are actually acting from fear? Yes. And I think that's, maybe that's a kind of a no-brainer question, but maybe something to think about. If you think your intuition, that's actually a really important distinction that I'll think for myself too. It's like, well, did that idea get planted from your spirit guide, from your higher self through your intuition, or did it come from fear? So I think that's actually a good barometer right now to keep asking yourself when you're making decisions about your life. Maybe some of you are feeling like there's been a couple times where I'm like, should we move? Should we sell our place? Should we go out in the country? Should we, these types of things. And all of those questions came from fear. Now it's funny because now that I'm not sitting in fear, I'm not even asking those questions. I'm like, no, I love my place. I don't want to move. So kind of interesting. So use that as your barometer in terms of intuition and fear. Definitely clear the fear. Is that something you want us to do, is clear the fear first so that we can hear our higher selves, our intuition? Yes. Okay. Would learning to stay calm help people make clearer choices during this transition? Yes. Okay. So that's the most important thing in terms of taking care of ourselves, going through the grieving process, not being in denial about things that are going on in the world. That's part of the grieving process. So working through that so that we can make decent decisions for ourselves that's not based in fear. Yes. Okay. Could reducing fear change not only individual lives, but also the direction of the larger collective? Yes. That's where our work comes in, you guys, because we're talking about this stuff. We're processing this stuff. We're doing clearings to clear this energy out of our collective field for ourselves individually, and then we're helping the collective. So that's very, very cool. So don't underestimate that your work going through these things, don't underestimate how much it's helping humanity as a whole. So that is awesome. Okay. So the Z's say people should speak their truth calmly, even when other people are not ready to hear it. Yeah, I like planting seeds. I just call it planting seeds and waiting for the right moments to plant some seeds. So the arguing thing, not good, they're saying. Let's not do the arguing thing. They mean being honest about what you see and what you believe. So again, just planting the seeds with different people. They say people often need to hear the same idea several times before they are ready to understand it. That's true for me. Do you find that true for you as well? They believe speaking truth helps weaken the old story and strengthen the new one. So very cool. The Z's say this is important now and may become even more important during the next several years. The timing of this, strengthening, speaking your truth, planting the seeds for people to hear things differently or see the world slightly different. Plant the seeds and then hopefully it'll start to grow and germinate on their end. Okay. So how to prepare: speak honestly without trying to force people to agree. I'm done doing that. Okay. Yep. Be patient if other people are not ready. Be patient. Remember that planting a seed. Oh, that's funny. Mabel's using planting the seed, or the Z's did. Remember that planting a seed may matter even if you do not see the results. Yes. Okay. Very good. Stay calm and grounded when you share what you believe. And be ready to bring some receipts, I think, because a lot of this stuff is like, holy crapola. What? What? It's mind blowing, some of the stuff that we're learning right now. Okay, so lead team, is it important for people to speak honestly about what they are seeing, even if others reject it at first? Yes, and that's not easy. It's not easy. Could staying silent out of fear allow the old story to continue longer? Yes. Yes. Is it, I would recommend though going through the grieving process first before you start planting your seeds, because you can do it way more calm. I've been planting seeds throughout my grieving process, and I haven't always been that calm while planting them. So they're agreeing. The lead team's agreeing with me. Would speaking calmly and respectfully make people more able to hear difficult truths? Of course. Yes. Is it possible that people often need to hear something several times before they are ready to understand it? Yes. Are we meant, especially something as mind-blowing as like what the world really has been like, Are we meant to focus more on planting seeds than on convincing people immediately? Yes. So, pick one thing. Just pick one thing. There's a gazillion things right now. Just pick one. Just pick one. Could one honest conversation create more change than we realize? Yes. So, and again, even if you're, again, just sprinkle, little sprinkles here and there, that's enough. That's enough. Because then what happens is then your mind opens up and you start hearing it from different perspectives. Here's an example. Keep using my husband as an example. So I was telling him, I don't know, 2 months ago, when I realized how much Israel played a role in our government here in the USA. Okay. Literally 2 months ago. I mean, I've always kind of known, but not the way I know now. Like 90% of the US Congress takes money from APEC and others, J Street and some other organizations, to drive the Israel project. Okay. So I told that to my husband and he was like, what? Again, I mean, this is how much, just that alone, not even talking about aliens and shit, just that alone, which we'll be talking about again more coming forward. But, so anyway, I don't know, a few weeks later, he's at work and somebody he really values his opinion. He believes knows what's going on in the world, blah, blah, blah. They were talking about it and he said the same thing about Israel. And then my husband was able to hear it different. Like I think he hears things from me and it's like he's on the first time. And, you just have to hear it from someone else sometimes also, because sometimes he thinks I'm watching too much and just, spinning. So that actually gave me some credibility in that whole area. But that's an example, right? I just planted the seed. This is something I learned and he didn't believe it, so, he could have just done his own research, but he's busy doing his own thing too. Okay, so over the 3 conversations, so this is part 3. I hope you go back and listen to part 1 and 2. They're going to pop up 1 here and part 2 here. We've looked at the world the Z's described, a world slowly changing, a world where old systems are weakening, and a world where people may need to build something new. But the biggest message underneath all of it is the future is not fixed. The Z's believe what happens next depends on what people choose now. What they choose now. A message for April from the Lead Team Collective on the pendulum was you reap what you sow. And when I looked it up and we had the conversation with the lead team in the Spirit Circle this month, they meant this month right now, what we are doing this month will make a difference for our future. And it's the same message the Z's have given us now. They believe what happens next and what we're doing right now depends on what people choose right now. Okay? I'm choosing sovereignty, so I'm learning that one new skill, which probably lead to another new skill on how to take care of myself a little differently than how I've been taking care. Okay? So let's see. Do we stay afraid? Do you want to stay afraid? I don't. Nope. I want to noodle through. Do we want to keep waiting? No, not at all. I mean, I'm to a point where you're like, it's just, yeah, there's no waiting. There's no waiting. The government is not working for us. They never have been. They just aren't. I mean, yeah, maybe local governments and local police, departments and stuff, but there's also issues in all those places too. So we've got to get into our local spaces so that we can see exactly what's going on locally. And then that will build from there. And, do we want to keep giving away our power? Those are the questions on the table. Or do you begin building something different, more local, making more connections, more honest, getting off our phones, connecting with people in this community? We talked about that in one of the other episodes. You guys can start making connections with each other. So say if you're in the chat right now, anybody living in Wisconsin, who lives in Wisconsin? Anybody want to get together and start organizing? You guys can organize. You don't have to wait for us to organize, right? We probably will do something, but don't wait. You're giving away your power waiting for, I just thought of that, right? That's a perfect example. That's a perfect example because you guys can put things in the comments. You can chat, join the chats next time. Keep asking the question. Does anybody live near Seattle? If you're in Seattle, does anybody live wherever? Want to get together? You're going to find kindred spirits here. I guarantee it. You're going to find kindred spirits here. Maybe not just do 2 though, like make sure there's like 3 or 4 or 5 of you. I think that would be better. Don't meet at one of your houses. Meet somewhere away from your houses just to be safe, Make sure you before you invite people into your home that you know who they are, obviously. So that is why we were asking these questions. This is why I wanted to do this series, okay? It's not to create fear. It's for us to understand how do we move through the world right now. And the Z's really helped ground me, those episodes. I'll list them below too. That really helped ground me in a totally different way. Because I was thinking, I think I said this in one of the episodes, I was thinking, am I just like, this is crazy. Like, are we just totally losing it or what? And I don't even know what to believe. But they confirmed the things that I've been thinking from all the stuff that I've been learning and going through. They really confirmed it, that this is happening. This is happening. So that was helpful, I think, which is why I wanted to have this conversation. So thank you for being here. If you'd like to have these conversations and you want to be a part of the community, please consider subscribing. Like this video, share it, do all the things. Help us noodle around the YouTubes. Just so more people can, get connected who need to have these conversations, who want to have these conversations. So, all right. Thanks for being here and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.